What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Saeed TV. I hope everybody's well on a Monday evening in the UK. Straightjacket podcast 252. And it's a big, big week for Manchester United as we commence a big Champions League game and also the derby on Sunday. With me today, we've got man like Nuruddin, as usual. Nuruddin, how's your week been? How's everything been, man? What you been up to?
You know what? Week's been a bit grim, not gonna lie to you, but it is what it is, innit?
Yeah.
The world is mad, mate.
Yeah.
In the dunya, the madness in the world.
Yeah.
It's all good, man.
Absolutely.
I'm good. I'm healing. The ribs are healing, but
Yeah.
less of the painkillers, so I'm not as high as a kite as I was beginning last week. So big up everybody.
Yeah.
Love and light. And we got a special guest in it. Special guest.
Special guest, Alice, killing it on YouTube, socials, whatnot. If you don't know her channel, Alice Talks Football. Alice, how are you on this Monday?
You know what? I'm okay. I mean, it's not been the most amazing week, but I'm glad the international break is over because I think it's boring, and I'm glad we got 3 points. Like, even though that game, I wasn't happy with it, we got 3 points, and if we're here after 3 points, I can't be too miserable.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? As much as I was a bit kind of not happy with the performance, you look at the next day and then you say, you know what? Okay, it's 3 points. But yeah, listen, guys, it's a massive week. Champions League is on knife edge, Nuruddin. I mean, are you optimistic that this team can get through this period? Or are you thinking we're just coping at the minute? We're just almost like getting through games because Sheffield United, man. That was tough to watch, Nuruddin. I don't know what you thought, but that was very, very tough to watch. It seems like this season, apart from the Carabao Cup game, which is quite funny that the one competition you don't like, Nuruddin, is the only game where we actually looked half decent and we played some good football. This season, Nuruddin, it's not great, is it? And as we're entering a key week for Man United, I mean, what are you thinking, bro?
Yeah. Listen, first of all, I want to say in it, I know that you talked about it. I'm sure.
Of course, absolutely.
That you've done. We want to. It's an icon, legend. The word legend is used around, but icons. There are icons.
Yeah,
that's synonymous with Manchester United and a Manchester United story. Manchester United are not the football club they are without Bobby Charlton. Like so.
Yeah.
We want to pay our respects to and condolences to the family of Bobby Charlton, and we'll celebrate. We're here. Every United fan should celebrate his achievements, what he meant for our football club, and who he was as a human being. So big up,
absolutely,
Bobby Charlton. May he rest in eternal peace. Other thing to say, solidarity and love to the Palestinian people. In it, that's the first and foremost. We always want to stand solidarity with anybody in this world who is suffering, and who are suffering at this moment while politicians pontificate. That's the new word, pontificate. I say it second time right. But yeah, in terms of Manchester United, I can't laugh. I was laughing my head off in that first half because if you go and check, I tweeted out, I said, we can't, honestly, I counted. There was about of like 10, 15 minutes in the first half and I was counting. So I had my fingers out like that. I was like, 1, 2. Lose the ball. 1, 2, 3. Lose the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lose the ball. 1, 2. Lose the ball. 1, 2, 3. Lose the ball. Like I was like, and I had to laugh, and I can't laugh really. I can't laugh, so I've got to go. I laugh weirdly now because I can't laugh. I can't like proper like taking a breath as I'm laughing, and I was like, this is my football club, the highest paid. Let me repeat for the people at the back, the highest paid. The highest wage bill in the Premier League, in the biggest league in the world, the richest league. So Manchester United have the highest paid squad in world football. Apart maybe Real Madrid, a little bit of Barcelona here and there. Other than that, Manchester United pay the most money. So I look at that and think, 3, 4, all we can do in 15, 20 minute spells in the first half was couldn't even string 5, 6 passes together. So that told me everything I needed to know about what was happening, the level of the confidence in these players, and what's happening. So, it was tragic. It's painful, especially in the time now we know that 25% crew are out here with their 25% Jim the Ratcliffe talk.
Yeah.
So it's just, to me, it's like Manchester United are in the mud. The fan base are in the mud. Our team, the way he plays, we're in the mud. As a football club, we don't have the restart. We don't have even if the football was bad, Saeed, and the Glazers went, and we got the news that the Glazers are going, I promise you, we would be able to we would have enthusiasm and energy to ride out things like that. But we can't. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon.
Yeah. Big up to Brian, who's just come in as well. Big up to Brian. You know what, Alice? I mean, when you look at this crucial week, yeah, you're looking for a bit of maybe performances and whatnot. Is it down to injuries? Is it down to the fact that maybe, we are missing some key personnel in there, or is it just down to the fact that we are lacking a bit of identity a little bit? We're just Ten Hag doesn't really know what he's trying to do, and we're almost getting by at the minute, and it just feels a bit kind of short term, maybe kind of thinking in terms of what we're trying to do. Like, is there any hope for you in this week, in the biggest week possible now, from what you've seen in the past season? Sorry, this season that we just come now.
So I try and be sort of as positive as I can, and I try and look at the positives, just because like this club is so negative, like it just drives you crazy. But it's like injuries definitely play an impact. I think we miss people like Martinez and Brown, particularly defensively. I think, injuries plays a role, but I think the way we are, even with the injuries we have, is not good enough. There's not an excuse for that. We aren't being good enough. And, Nuruddin made a big point. Like, we couldn't even string 3 passes together in that first half. I in my watch along was counting. I did a watch along and I said, guys, we're going to count every time we can string passes along. From minute 15 to about minute 30, I managed to count to 3 about 3 times. We couldn't even make 2 passes in this 15-minute period. And I said, this is Sheffield United. This is 1 point Sheffield United. Even with the injuries we have, this lineup should be winning 3-1. That game, at least 3-1 with a bit of comfortability. Now, the second half was a lot better. We got a lot more control, but it still wasn't convincing enough for me. Like, even in the second half, when we had a bit more control and more of the game, it had to be a Delo worldie to actually break through. There's so many issues. Defensively, we've had our problems, and I do think I put the defence down to injuries and lapse in concentration. I do think that, but I think the midfield and the attack's not good enough. We don't really have any attacking injuries other than Sancho not wanting. It'd be nice to have had Sancho on the right wing over Anthony, but he's made his bed. I just think Rashford isn't playing anywhere near the level he was last season. A lot of our big players like Bruno are stinking it up. Casemiro's had a poor season, so I think it's a mixture of injuries. Some of our biggest performers last season aren't performing this season, but also I think a big part of it is maybe on Ten Hag needs to notice what we've all noticed and go, why are we always trying to hoof the ball long? Why are we always trying to go direct? Why, let's keep it simple. Let's keep possession better. I think for me, we need to simplify our game a bit more.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know what? There was someone saying have we become long ball FC? In a minute, it seems to me like we're hoofing the ball up to Højlund, and he kind of knocks it up, and then we kind of go from there. Like that, I don't really kind of see what we're trying to do. Second half, we got a bit better on the ball. We tried to dictate it a little bit, but it seems to me when we do get that ball from the back, there's not kind of what do we do next? It's almost like, hoof it to that side, and then Maguire will get the diags, and then he'll play it to Rashford, and then he'll try and do whatever he needs to do there. It's like there's no coherent. It's not something that you kind of would see from the training ground, and that's where a lot of people are like, "What are we actually doing in training?" We don't know at the minute, what we're doing in training. That's my kind of biggest gripe with Ten Hag, is that I need to see something from the training ground, some methods of what you're trying to do, what you're trying to teach. Because right now, I'll be honest with you, I don't see it, and that's the kind of damning thing about Ten Hag, is that he doesn't look like he's got a well-trained team. It just looks like a bunch of individuals. And then, you know what? Whoever at the end has a good strike or can get the ball and score, then that's the person who gets our goals. That's just the way I kind of look at it for me. I mean, I don't know if anybody thinks the style of play is any different. I mean, Brian, we'll get to you. Do you see much of what we're trying to do in training, or we have
confused
as well?
We haven't seen in a long time, to be honest, and I know we've spoken about this a couple of times before. That we had certain periods in last season where it looked very good, that we was playing good attacking football, we
Yeah.
played good possession football, but we haven't seen it this season. And then is that due to injuries? I don't really know. Because even with the players that we have there, we should be able to dominate a Burnley. We should be able to dominate a Sheffield United. So that's something that really bothers me, that concerns me with this team, is that we cannot control games against teams that you should control. If you can't do it against Arsenal or against a Man City, then I understand. But the games like especially the first half an hour against Sheffield United, for me, was terrible to watch, because we can't even dominate a team like that, and then that's a big worry. But I don't know what the problem is in this squad. But I was looking at the stats because I was doing the show on Sunday, and I was looking at the stats. And do you know the pass completion, or the amount of passes that our three midfielders gave individually? So three players gave. So we got McTominay, Bruno Fernandes, and Amrabat, who was playing midfield. And all of them had an individual amount of passes given. Do you know how much each player had?
No.
So Bruno at 66, Amrabat at 63. No, Amrabat at 66, Bruno at 63, and Scott McTominay had 9 passes in 60 minutes. And that's where, and that just shows where our midfield is at right now. If one of our 3 main midfielders is completing under 10 passes in a game, or just giving under 10 passes in a game, that just shows our lack of being able to dominate a possession in midfielders, our lack of dominating just the ball in general anyways. So that's the thing, that's what I think is the main problem. And I hope when players come back like a Casemiro, even though he wasn't doing that great, but I hope when he comes back that we can start controlling the ball again, because it's looking woeful. We're struggling, we're playing too direct, we're playing too long, too early against teams like Sheffield United, and we won't win the aerial duels anyway, so the ball comes back immediately.
I think that the stat was it McTominay as well? I think after the goal, what was the stat? He had only 9 passes or something like that. What was?
He had 9 throughout the whole his whole cameo that he had in the game. He had 9 passes.
Wow,
that's worrying as a Man United midfield for me.
That was less than Højlund, and he's doing the graveyard shift at striker. Even Højlund made more touches and passes in the time that Tom was on the pitch.
Yeah. It just seems to me that the defense is the one where it looks a little bit more solidified. But then we're playing low block football when you actually deep it, because we're not really attractive. It's not proactive football, Nuruddin, is it? Because that's why Maguire and Evans are. Listen, I'm not trying to discredit them. They've been playing well, to be fair. But if we're playing on the front foot, then they have to then play a different style of football. So I feel like now it's helping them. So the midfield is now suffering, and in the attack, I don't even want to talk about the attack, Nuruddin. I mean, that is just, I don't know what to say about the attack. I'm worried. They've only scored 1 goal this season, the attack. Højlund has scored, obviously, in the Premier League I'm talking about. Champions League, Højlund's top scorer with 3 goals or 4 goals, is it? You know what I mean? Like, the passes, the attack, nothing's fluid, Nuruddin. You know what I mean? And that comes down to Ten Hag, what he's doing in the training ground. I don't know what his messages are, but he does look angry on the touchline, Nuruddin. It seems to me on the touchline, he's very, very animated. He's going mad. Did you see the picture of him when he was going mad? You seen that, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, we could kind of laugh or cry, but shout out Saeed. The Maguire Beckenbauer was back. Beckenbauer's back, and he's back with a bang. At the end of the day, listen, the levels of the team drops, and I love Sky's stat. This is how, just to explain to people, breakdown. This is how stat can be construed. So they put the stat up, right? Last season, I think he had more minutes.
Well, this
for
one
England. Yeah, he had more minutes for England.
Oh, the other stats, yeah.
He had Maguire had more minutes for England than he did for Manchester United. So that's last season, yeah. And last season he played a couple of the home cup games. He played the likes of Reading, and he played some of these games. And they look at it and go, in the last 15 games, Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, Manchester United, when Harry Maguire's in the team. I told you, listen, Harry Maguire has got one of the best PR, mate. Some of the best PR out here than any footballer. I'm telling you now, it is absolutely relentless. Now, do I condone anybody abusing anybody personally? No. Do I think he's good enough for Manchester United? No. I told Saeed that before we signed him.
Yeah.
Months
He did.
before we signed him, I told him the videos on YouTube. I said, this guy's not a Manchester United player. This guy is not worth 80 million. What planet are we on? But anyway, Manchester United went and go ahead and did what they did. But to be fair to him, it was this type of game. I'll break it down quickly. It was this type of game because it was a game where Sheffield United actually didn't try to play their football. They played for 50-50, get the ball in the box, make Manchester United defenders turn the defense, get that ball in the box to the two strikers. That's what they did play with. Two strikers, they got the ball up the pitch. And in that type of a game, Harry Maguire is going to be good. I thought aerially he dominated. He absolutely dominated aerially. In terms of him and Evans, they couldn't be exposed because they didn't have Sheffield United didn't play through the midfield and have clever runs in and around them and quick 1-2s. They didn't do that.
Yep.
Instead, they played to the strength of Evans and Maguire, who were both turn like double-decker buses. One of them is a better player, obviously, Evans. Maguire could never release even one boot of Evans. And Evans was kind of like the C player. He wasn't the second best player. When I was watching Manchester United going to the stadium, West Brom was way better than Evans, right? So forget before you get to Vidic and Ferdinand. They're like levels and levels. So to me, I'll say it. And Evans is not good enough to lace one of West Brom's shoe. So this is the levels I'm trying to explain to you people. And that's Johnny Evans. So it shows you where Manchester United have been, where we've been. And it showed, for me, it was about all second ball. So we were getting bullied. And then we treat the ball like hot potato. And everybody's favorite number 8, the Captain Marvel, giving the ball away, literally playing. I'm not lying to you. We used to play, I'm not going to lie. I played in midfield there when I used to play Sunday League and Saturday League. And you know what? I used to hate anybody hoofing the ball. When we get the ball out, when we try just open the play out a bit and give it to the right back or the left back, I used to always say, because in English football, it used to be coached as wide and slide, like wide, and then get the cross in, wide, slide, get it across. That's what it used to be. And I always say to him, calm down, don't hoof the ball. We've got the ball. Yeah. And Manchester United, for me, I didn't. And the captain, Mr. Creative, Mr. Manchester United now, the face of Manchester United, is literally getting it. And I don't know who he's finding. Look, some of the passes.
That's the issue.
Some of the Bruno he made. I'm like, if I'm a coach and my team play football, come outside and come and do it. And then I look at it, Saeed, I think, under Jose, I was like, my tweet was said, what are they doing in training? Under Oli, same question I asked. What are they doing in training? Under Van Gaal, I asked. Yeah. To be fair, under Van Gaal, I never asked what the training. I was like, where are the goals? Yeah. Under Van Gaal, I asked, where are the goals?
Because it was clear.
Yeah, it was goals. You know what I mean? Under Ranier, exactly the same. Under Giggs, when Giggs took over, I was like, what are they doing in training? So everybody else, except for Van Gaal, I was like, what are they doing in training? Because with Van Gaal, if you can see football, you can at least see that the positioning. We kept the ball in midfield. We held the ball. Listen, when I tell people, I'm going to tell my grandchildren, with Fellaini and Herrera, we went to Anfield and bossed the midfield. We went to the Etihad and bossed the midfield. Like, I will never, with Fellaini in midfield, that's what we did. One-touch football. We did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I look at it and think, well, what are they doing in training? And I think, well, is it all these managers or is it these players when they get on that football pitch?
Yeah. I got a super chat here from Owinski. Big up to you, Owinski. Unless Eric Ten Hag changes Eric Ten Hag has introduced that internal, I haven't seen any change since pre-Carabao Cup period. Boring, cemetery football, man. I mean, you know what? Like, I don't think like I said to you, Alice, I think the last time we played well was, for me, Barcelona. That game was where I looked at it and thought, wow, what a game. I think the best game under Ten Hag for me was Tottenham at home when we destroyed Tottenham 2-0. I think Fred was unbelievable that night. That's what I remember. Ten Hag, high pressing, high energy, high octane football. That's what I loved about Ten Hag. Do you reckon it could ever get back to that? Like, do you like in your mind think it could get to that, or do you think it's a struggle now because now there's new expectations now and there's better teams in the league now? Unai Emery, so many players are here now that manage that. Good tacticians as well.
I think the fact that Eric Ten Hag managed to get us third last season and win a trophy after the shambles we had under Ragnick, I think the fact that Ajax have fallen fallen down a cliff since he's left. Like, I do believe there is a good manager in Erik ten Hag. I do believe he's capable of getting us to a certain level, but I don't know if he'll get the support to do that, the recruitment around it to do that. I don't think our players are good enough to do that. There's things he needs to improve on, the way we play, style of play. But let's be honest, a lot of our players aren't good enough. You know, I praised Maguire. I said Maguire was really good these last few games, but as Nuruddin said, you know, these were crap teams that he should be playing good against. I don't have any faith that Maguire's going to put in a 10 out of 10 at the Etihad or when we play Man City. I think Man City's going to expose the gap between these players as well. I think a lot of our players that they're playing right now aren't good enough. They're players you don't want in the squad sort of in 2-3 years. And maybe Ten Hag can do an Eddie Howe and coach them and get the best out of them, because we've seen Eddie Howe do that. But it's a difficult one, because I believe in Ten Hag, but it's about, will he get the recruitment, the right players in? Is he going to be allowed to get rid of the deadwood? Because I'm sorry, I don't know how McTominay and Maguire stayed. They should have been sold. You know, we saw McTominay's not good enough. We know that even though Maguire's been good the last few games, we just know he's not good enough. But we've kept on to them. We need to get rid of those players. And one of the biggest problems I've picked out with United and the way we're trying to play is Ten Hag's brought in some possession-based players because he wants to play possession-based football. But then he has a lot of other players that are here under Ollie that were better on the counter-attack. Like with Rashford and Bruno, if you want to play hoof-long counter-attack, that suits Rashford and Bruno. But if you want to play, possession-based football, that's not Rashford's game. That's not Bruno's game. Anthony, he's, not that I think he's good enough, but he's a possession-based player. We saw at Ajax, he was much better. Martinez is a possession-based player. And then we've got counter-attacking players. And then, our whole midfield is people that aren't just naturally good on the ball other than Amrabat. And I think when you've got profiles that suit counter-attacking and then profiles that don't suit counter-attacking in the same side, and Ten Hag wants to do possession-based football and he's like, well, I can't actually. I'm going to have to do counter-attacking football. I think it's this big mess. And I think it's all come down to actually negligence right at the top, the lack of director of football, the lack of knowledge. Yeah. Like, I've praised Mason Mount. I actually think for the most part he's been better, and I'd start him over Bruno on current form. But why did we sign Mason Mount? He was not what we needed in the midfield.
That's a crazy thing for me. Like, me, I don't really fancy Mason Mount, but you know what? He's actually been playing decent. Let him start. And he didn't start. And tomorrow will be a big indication as to where Mason Mount plays. If Mason Mount's on the bench tomorrow, because everyone told me, well, he'll play tomorrow because he's been dropped for the Copehagen game. So let's see if he plays tomorrow. So if we see he's on the bench tomorrow, that's a clear indication of, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Like, he's meant to be the guy that we are trying to introduce. But I did say, what are we going to do with him and Mason Mount, in the team, with him and Bruno? How do we play? Bruno then has to be on the right. And Ten Hag does want him in the middle, but this is another thing that, again, we didn't need. We needed probably more protection midfield, probably more forwards in a striker role in that regards. But I feel like for me with Bruno Fernandes, I just don't like the way he plays. I think ultimately, yes, he'll get the G8. Don't get me wrong. He'll score goals, whatever. But even that's dried up this season. Aaron's in the building. Aaron, hope you're well, bro. What are you thinking, bro? What big week this week? Lose tomorrow.
Can I just say one thing quickly? Congratulations, Aaron, on the.
Oh yeah, the commentary. Yeah, big up Aaron, man. Come on,
big up, man.
Big up.
Man, we had you. All I'm saying is that when you're in about 5 years' time and you're doing a Champions League at the Bernabeu, the San Siro, if you need anybody to carry the bags. There's only one person you're looking at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want somebody to hold the hot chocolate for you, hold the bags for you, wipe the seat down before you sit down, where everyone at.
No, I appreciate you guys, man. Good to see
big up
you
Aaron,
all.
man. The zone, big thing, man. Big things, bro. Come on, man. Winning.
Absolutely. Good to see you all, by the way. Alice, good to see you too. Sorry, Saeed. Your question again.
Yeah, just saying, what do you think of the just in general this week here? Bruno Fernandes' form, the question marks around the team. What are you enjoying it? What's going on, bro? Talk to me.
Am I enjoying it? Probably not, man. It's hard to watch Man United at the moment, man. It's really hard to watch. I mean, yes, we got the 3 points on the board. I think we're 8th now, if I'm not wrong. Are we 8th? Or is it 10th? It's 8th now, yeah.
8th.
So yeah, we're 8th, and I'm still not confident.
Hey,
I'm
we're
yet to see.
We're 6 points behind the top of the league.
Hey, if we
We're
win,
a title charge.
if we win against
Charge.
City this weekend, you
Nah.
know,
I'm not even confident. You know, the City game that's coming up. Well, City's on the weekend. I need to worry about Copenhagen first. I don't know if we're going to put in the same level of performances, because one thing we can all agree on here on this panel is, with the level of performances we've seen in recent weeks, we're not making it anywhere. It's really alarming. It's concerning.
Yeah.
I'm not doubting any of the qualities that some of these players have, and I keep repeating myself, but in particular, I really feel sorry for Højlund, because he has incredible amount of footballing abilities, but with the way we're playing, we've narrowed him down to just this forward that wrestles against everyone now. Now, all we talk about is, oh, look at his physicality. Oh, look at the way he wrestles. And we didn't bring you in to wrestle defenders. We brought you in to score goals. And that's not on him. You know, some of the chances, I get it, against Sheffield United, that chance should have gone in. I agree. But I just feel sorry for Højlund, man. And I feel sorry for anyone that's joined this club, because they're being dragged down to the level of everyone else that has been underperforming for years and years and years. I'm not Mason Mount's biggest fan, and Brian will probably know this in the group chats. We've been talking about it. I was against the signing of Mason Mount, but I also know that Mason Mount's not that crap. He's not. There is a quality player in there. Do you know what I mean? You don't win the Champions League, or you don't have an exceptional run in the Champions League to win it in the end if you're just being average. I think there is a player in there. Again, I'm not his biggest fan, but I believe there is something he can bring to the team. But he's being dragged down to the level of everyone else around him that's not performing. And at the same time, I have to ask some questions when it comes to the manager. Why do you persist with players that are not performing? Why do you still give minutes to players that are not playing well?
Bruno?
Where is the same ruthlessness that we've seen with Sancho, for example? I know that's a different case, but where is that same level of ruthlessness? Okay, you haven't played well? Bench. You're not playing well? I've got someone on the bench who can come on and do the same job. I'm looking at people on the bench and I'm thinking, someone like Donny van der Beek, can he really do any worse than Bruno? Don't think so. Yeah. Can you do any worse than Casemiro? Don't think so. Can you do any worse? Even, bro, for the sake of playing him on the right, because the manager keeps saying that Bruno can play on the right-hand side. Can he really do any wrong than Anthony?
Anthony's the one for me I don't understand.
I don't know.
The Anthony one, Aaron, is the one that I just don't get. He's not on form. You know, by the way, he's only got, I think there was a crazy stat yesterday that he's only got 3 goal involvement since, is it March, is it, or something like that? Like that guy it's crazy, you know, like it's not great, you know. And he's in the team. Yes. Go on. I'm gonna give you an even more crazier stat, Saeed. In the whole season, since the season started, in the Premier League alone, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, our forward line, that's Bruno, Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho, who else? I've named Anthony already. Martial. Across our front line, 1 goal. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Crazy. It's mad. It's not good enough, man.
And even last season we had that. Even last season we had that same problem, because I believe Man City finished the season with 90 plus goals scored. Arsenal had something along the lines of 80 plus goals scored. We finished third. We scored 58 goals. So there was, even between us and Arsenal, we keep saying, we finished third, but we didn't score many goals. There's a 30 plus goal difference between us and Arsenal. And Arsenal scored goals for fun last season. Yeah. And it's just very, like I said, it's a hard watch, man. You know, we're seeing the likes of Newcastle going to Sheffield United and putting 8 past them like it's a training game, and we're going there struggling. It's a hard watch, man. Hard watch.
Big up Owinski says here, Erik ten Hag is capable and suitable for Man United. Unfortunately, Erik ten Hag's forced to manage down players and manage up clowns upstairs. His hands are full. You know, Brian, is he a guy who understands what he's going through? Do you think he's understanding the fan frustration? Is he one of them where he's kind of like in his own bubble, where he thinks, you know what, nah, it's okay, man. Next game, because he always judges everything on the next game. He just thinks about the next game. I know that's how football is played. It's a cliche, focus on the next game. But I just feel like it's kind of almost like go along. You know what I mean? Like work it as you go along, not kind of like the bigger picture, bro. You see what I mean?
I think Ten Hag, when he first came, and I think in his previous year of coaching as well, he was always focused on the longer term and how he wants to build a team. But I think that coming to the Premier League and coming to Manchester United, it was a big wake-up call because you've got more competition, you've got more teams that are playing well, that can compete, that can spend the same as you. Because let's be honest as well, when he was in Holland, yeah, he was great. But he had the best team there and he had the most capital there as well. So it was easier for him to dominate those competitions. Now you went to England, it's a bit different. And right now I feel like, and you can see how the team plays as well, is that we want to survive this upcoming period. We're trying to stay in between those top 6 positions. We're trying to stay, and we're not doing that in the Champions League, but we're trying to survive a period. And that's maybe, and that shows how we play. And that's a concerning thing because you want to have a project to look upon. But that's what I think Nuruddin as well said a lot last year as well when he was trying to go for multiple cups instead of looking at the longer process and actually trying to implement the style of play. Right now, I feel like he just tries to win games because he wants to stay in and about those positions. I feel like, and I have that belief that we will turn it around. It's not going to be soon. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's going to be soon.
Is it based on hope though? Because mine is based on hope, and it's okay to feel like that.
No, I think so. I actually think so. I actually think he's going to turn it around, but it's going to take a while. I think he's waiting for players to come back out of injury. Those players are coming back slowly. And then I think it's about just trying to qualify for the next stage of Champions League. So he's trying to get that second position because it's going to be hard now since we lost both games against Bayern Munich and against Galatasaray. So I think he's going to he's going to try to get through that period, try to manage to win games in the Premier League and Champions League. And then after that period, he's going to cool down a little bit because then you've got like, I think a good 3 to 4 weeks where before the January period starts, and then we have a lot of games coming up. I think he will then turn it around and then play a little bit more the type of football that he wants to play. But right now, even when you saw the lineup against Sheffield United, it was a lineup of we're trying to battle, we're trying to go toe for toe with their physicality. But I think, and I believe, but I'm not a flipping, I don't have a crystal ball, but I believe he's going to turn around soon. It has to.
Big up to everybody who's watching. Make sure you're liking the video, people. We've got nearly 600 people in here. Make sure you're smashing the likes up on the video. HKM Music, big up my guy. He says, Bruno GA is a myth. His first season where he scored 9 penalties. Bruno from open play does not get many assists or score goals. Eriksen last season had more assists since Casemiro signed. He has had more open play goals than Bruno. Let me go to you, Alice, here, on this point here. As a team, do you reckon it's hard for us to build something when we're relying on like 2 individuals? Like Ten Hag, does he need to look at the team playing well, like rather than focusing on building a team around 2 players in that regard? Because I feel like as a team, Bruno's now suffering, Rashford's suffering, but we can't just sit around and say, right, the team's not there. We have to manage, and that comes down from trusting your players, isn't it?
Yeah. So, do you know what? My favourite team to watch at the moment is probably Newcastle because they are a team of 11 players. It's not individual brilliance. 6 of their players that started versus Palace, who they thrashed 4-0, were there under Bruce when they were 19th. But the reason Newcastle is one of the best teams in the league, they've scored the most goals, they have the highest XG, is because they play as a team. Even though they've got players like Bruno Guimaraes or Isak that are talented players, they play as a team. There's no that the team revolves around one individual. And I think, we've been individual FC, we've been Moments FC for too long. And if you look at some of the best teams, you've got to play as a team. And I understand the reliance on Bruno and Rashford, particularly last season, because Rashford got 30 goals, that no one else in our attack could score a goal. But the thing is, it's so unsustainable because we know with Bruno and Rashford, when Bruno and Rashford are good, they do hit ridiculously good levels. But when they are bad, they are bad. Like, they're one of those people, like, on their days, they can be 9 out of 10, but on their off days, they can be 2 out of 10. Saka, he's always a 5 out of 10 on his off day, not a 2 out of 10 like Rashford and Bruno. And I think when you're playing to Rashford and Bruno aren't playing well, then ultimately the rest of the team isn't going to play well. And it's a problem because I think we're too reliant on Rashford and Bruno in a way because actually there's not many players going forward that can produce anything. But then would we play better as a team? Would we retain the ball better if Bruno and Rashford didn't play? And I was thinking about my lineup versus Man City and I was like, do we drop Bruno or not? Because I'm very big on if a player's not performing, you have to drop them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd actually drop Lindelof for either Maguire or Evans because I think Lindelof's been rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not Maguire's biggest fan, but he's been better than Lindelof these last 2 games. So is Evans. And I was like, the thing with Man City is I don't expect us to have a lot of possession versus Man City. So I'm like, I looked at it in 2 ways. I'm like, we can't afford to give the ball away stupidly against Man City because unlike Sheffield United, they'll score 4 or 5 goals. What does Bruno do? Give the ball away. But then I'm also like, we're not going to have much of the ball versus Man City, and we'll need someone to make something happen out of nothing. That's what Bruno does. And it's in this kind of dilemma now where I'm like, are we like, it's so hard to know what to do because it's like, I don't know if anyone else is going to do anything if we don't play Bruno. But I guess maybe versus Man City, you need to go, you know what, we're going to play Mount, Donny and Amrabat, you know, or Mejbri in there. And I actually said, you know what, I wouldn't be opposed to giving Mejbri a go in such a big game because I think Man City are going to have most of the ball. We are never going to match Man City's ability in possession. Mejbri and Mount probably cover the most ground out of possession. Maybe our way of beating Man City is going out of possession. And I think, you know, while I think ultimately if we dropped Bruno, I don't think we'd be much better because I just think we're so hopeless in attack. I think you have to drop maybe Bruno to send the message of you have dropped off in form. If I've done this to this player, I've got to do it to you.
Facts, 100%. Big up to Lucas here, just here for some therapy. All right, listen, we might need it after tomorrow night, you know what I mean? But big up to you, my guy, Lucas.
Can I ask you some questions?
So you're going to say something there?
Yeah, I can ask you the question, all of you. So when Bruno plays bad, what is it that he does that annoys you a lot? And then the second question is, that's just a question. When he plays bad, what does he do that annoys you? I just want to know in it because I see it differently. I just want to know.
Okay, but I'll go first. For me, he gives the ball away a lot and he's a disruption to our play. So when we want to be keeping the ball and not playing hot potato, he forces it. And I feel like for me, it affects us negatively on the pitch. And he's the captain. So that's just the biggest thing for me. He doesn't keep the ball well. He may be a final third player where he'll get the assist. That's where his game is. I feel like when he gets in around that area where he needs to dictate or whatever, and we need to play football, he becomes a disruption to Man United. That's my biggest one. Anyone else that want to comes in, then feel free to.
I know Aaron's opinion already, but
okay, cool.
Yeah, maybe
no. What do you mean? You know my opinion?
Bro, we speak every week, man. Cut out.
No, but maybe for the the people that are watching that don't know. My main issue, is just the carelessness, man. The carelessness on the ball. Some of the things he does come off brilliantly, but some of the things he does the next sequence or the next phase of play, I'm just asking myself, like, why? Why did you do that? Like, what is how did you process in your head? For example, Sheffield United, the game that just passed now, there was a time where I think there was nobody pressing him. He received the ball on the swivel and he just hits it, literally. And I think it was meant for Anthony or Dallo, I can't remember. And it was just headed away by the Sheffield United defense. The sequence after that was, again, space around him, nobody's pressing him. And he tries to go for a long ball, completely hits it, no backspin on it, he just put his foot through the ball. And again, it's not me saying, oh, Bruno, what are you doing? No, I'm literally asking myself, like, how do you process in your mind, okay, what I just did was the right decision? That's my issue. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like when you need to, because I do like Bruno, I'm a big fan of Bruno, but this season he's been absolutely crap. And I think there's things I do praise Bruno, even when he's bad, he presses, he tracks back. But when Man United need to simplify their game, when Man United need to control games, Bruno does not do that. First 35 minutes versus Sheffield United is the worst football I've seen Man United play. Honestly, just we couldn't even string 2 passes together. And you know, Bruno was a big part of that. And then Amrabat, all of a sudden, I think was the guy that helped us get control of the game. He sort of started taking some touches, slowing it down, making some passes. I think it's Bruno's, like, he always has to make things happen in his head. And I think sometimes, actually, we've got to learn to build up slowly, just have the ball a bit more, slow down the tempo, slow down the play. And I think that's where I criticise Bruno, because I'm like, cool, you can make things happen. But if those passes aren't coming off, you're giving the ball away. And, you know, there was a period where most of those passes are coming off. At the moment, hardly any of the passes are coming off. And that can be a little bit down to the players around them not being as good making those runs. But when you need to actually reassess the way you're playing, slow down, control the game, dictate some tempo, Bruno's not allowing us to do that. And I think that is the problem. He needs to, like, be able to adapt. And we saw a little bit last season where he did sort of change up a little bit. Maybe that was just me, but he had a really good period, I think, last season for a couple of months where he was dropping a bit deeper and he wasn't being as direct and he wasn't getting those numbers as much, but actually his all-round play evolved. And I think he needs to go back to that. And I think he's trying too hard to make something happen because, you know, this attack is useless.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple of super chats here. Go on, Lordy. Yeah, go on, Lordy.
Yeah, because I just want to make a point, but then do the super chat first. Yeah, super chat first.
Okay, big up to Abdishek says, why are we still talking about who should start after one season with Eric Ten Hag? The manager got no clue. Start Hannibal one game and then McTominay. Eric Ten Hag out. Big up, fair play to Abdishek. He's kept his opinions, you know what I mean, the same no matter what. So listen, agree to disagree on that one. HKM Music, big up to you, says Bruno's positional sense isn't good. He loses the ball way too much. He overhits his passes. Ball retention isn't good. Can't dribble. Weak player who gets bounced off the ball easily. And Mr. Structure said, Mr. Structure, the new Bond villain, stroking the cat. Much love. That's Skulls. That cat's called Skulls, my friend.
Really?
And one more super chat. They say, why do people say Bruno's high risk, high reward player? Please, I need to understand what's the reward in his game because I don't see it. Fine. I think that comes down to the culture, but Nuruddin, you go for it, bro, and then we'll get Brian's opinion.
Yeah, so first on Bruno, at the best, I agree with Alex, who was saying that last season he actually played different variations of games. I remember the Everton game, we had Casemiro banned. He played in a number 6 or a number 8. And he was just putting the ball. Everton came and played some halfway line football, and there where Anthony was that day. Anthony was missing sitters right, left. So it was Anthony and Rashford were taking turns to miss the sitters. So last season, you were that. The only thing what I say about the press. So let me just take Patty's game. Bruno on form pulled something out of the hat in terms of a pass, in terms of like a goal or a shot from somewhere. Bruno not on form, the ball is going haywire. He's absolutely passing the ball to invisible players, only he could see. Yeah. Bruno pressing, when the team's there to help, he looks constructive. Bruno on the press, he goes like a headless chicken by himself. You see him just running. Bruno, in terms of the finishing, obviously we saw against Burnley, he can finish. He makes good runs sometimes, but it's about who can pass the ball to him and find him. And then other days, he'll try the absolute percentage shots where he's coming in, he's dribbling, and he's off balance and 35 yards out when we need to construct a play and give it 3 more and be patient and give it 3 or 4, move the team, maneuver them from side to side. He takes the shots on his left foot outside of the boot, 35 yards off balance, and then he goes to Rosette. So at the end of the day, Brian, when you ask, I'm telling you, even he's pressing when he's on form, passing when he's on form, when he's not on form. So that's what it is. But in terms of if Manchester United was a soundtrack, just to go back to what the questions were, we went from Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer, to Beyonce, I'm a Survivor. I think it was somebody, Aaron or Alice, that said I'm a Survivor. And then and we went from to Brian, I Believe. You know what I mean? Like there's so many songs of I Believe. So if you look at that Manchester United as a soundtrack, we go from Living on a Prayer to Beyonce, I'm a Survivor, I Believe. And that tells you where we are as a football club. As a football club, where we are. That's our soundtrack. Yeah. And that's the reality what we have to deal with in totality as a football club.
So what would the current situation, what soundtrack would you associate to Man United's current situation?
What soundtrack? What
Living on a Prayer?
What song in general?
Oh, what song? Well, I'm still living on a prayer, bro. That's my favorite.
Living on a Prayer.
Halfway there. Whoa. Well, they did, I swear. That's how it is, bro. It's Bon Jovi for me. Yeah. More than any other track, Bon Jovi tells me in the last 10 years. If you want one song to sum up the last 10 years, it's the fans. Yeah. Basically, where are the Bon Jovi? If you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's about going through hard times. You know what I mean? And love and having love. We were in a very abusive relationship with the players. with the football club, with the owners, with the football structure and the lack thereof. So that's what we are. To me, I have to go to music. I have to go to music. And in terms of like, I'm a survivor FC, I believe FC, I'm living in a prayer FC. That's what we are. That's who we Manchester United. That's what we are. And you know what? I don't even know currently any music that I would think that describes, other than that, one of these like R&B songs where somebody's talking about the heartbreak. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Heartbreak.
I feel like for me, it is.
You know what?
It is.
Actually,
Big up to Flawless in the building.
Can anybody tell me about
Flawless.
Drake record? Yeah, listen, one of the Drake records, one of the singles from Drake, where he's talking about how he can't find love. I can't find love.
Probably. Take care of something like that.
To be fair, I would probably take an R&B soundtrack. I would take is Marcus Houston. He's got a song called Circle, and in the chorus he says, "Can somebody help me get out of this circle?" I think that's the perfect.
I would have So Sick by Neo. So Sick.
Oh, there we go. That's it. Yeah. So Sick.
Because tomorrow we could be sick. Because tomorrow we could be potentially out. Like, if we lose tomorrow, guys, are we out?
It's done.
Done.
It's done.
It's done.
I clocked as well. 0 points. It's done.
It's done. Yeah.
It's a Europa League thing. It's done.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we break the record of like the first English team to ever go 0 out of 3 points. 0 for 9 points in the Champions League. We could be. We could be.
Now we're gonna smack Copenhagen. If I'm gonna trust me. But I just want to round off.
How do you get this confidence?
I just want to listen. Delusional. Listen. I believe. I don't know. It's love. It's too much. It's too much love. It's too much love. I don't know how I keep doing it. Because I believe we're gonna beat City, but that's just me, innit? Anyways, about the Bruno thing, because I've been watching him for a lot of years. I'm Portuguese. I've seen him play, whatever. But I've also seen Man United play throughout the year. So I've seen Louis van Gaal, I've seen Moyes, I've seen Ferguson, Sir Alex Ferguson, and I've seen all the other coaches. And for me, I remember when we had Alexis Sanchez, there used to be always a trending stat after his game. He had 70 dispossessions, he had 50 dispossessions. It was every game it was that. But for me, when I play football myself, and I've done coaching as well, so I've done both, I've seen both worlds. When I look at Bruno, I get frustrated like every other Man United fan. But at the same time, I appreciate what he does, even when he's bad. And it's going to sound a little bit weird, but I appreciate what he does. Is because when we had a team under Louis van Gaal, we said we need someone that's going to take risk. We need someone that's going to take a shot sometimes. We need someone that's going to try the risky pass, even if it's not going to come off. So then when Bruno does that, and half of the time it doesn't work, and half of the time it does work. Not everyone is Ozil, where you have that high percentage rate of what's it called, the line breaking passes, whatever. Not everyone is like Ozil. I think Ozil's a perfect example. He's got that different eye of football where he can just give out passes. But for me, Bruno takes the risks where I would like to see a number 10 take them. And at times it's very frustrating. I understand that. But if he doesn't take it, no one else in our team is gonna take it, is gonna take that risk. And that's why I sometimes feel a bit sorry for Bruno, because he has to do that. Because like Alice said last year, there was a period where he was playing as a number 6, and he can do that. He can keep the ball. He can be the one that's gonna contain possession, that's gonna play around. But we need someone in our squad that's gonna create, because then we have no other players that can create. So the same thing with Rashford. I know it's frustrating when he runs around and he takes a shot from 30 meters, but it's no one else in the team is going to do that. No one else in the team is going to try create something in this team. We lack a lot of creators in this team. And because everyone is so bad, the pressure is more on Bruno, and then he's going to take 20 more passes than he should do. But it's because no one else does it. So when Amrabat, because someone gave an example of Amrabat's keeping possession. Yeah, but that's his job. His job is to play the ball from left to right, or try to get into the players like a Bruno or like a Mason Mount that can create. But Bruno is a creator, so let a creator create, and he's gonna turn out bad, but it's not always but sometimes it's gonna work. And we've seen that since he came to Man United. It's worked a lot of times. He scored a lot of goals. He had a lot of assists, and I don't care about if it's penalties or not. He's done it for Man United time after time after time, and now he's in a bad patch. But no one else is doing it for Man United. So I don't mind him losing the ball sometimes. I don't care when my number 10 loses the ball. And I know it's a bit different, but I don't want to be like a team. Like I remember under Arsene Wenger, Arsenal kept the ball and everyone was saying, oh, it's sideways football because they keep playing sideways. No one is taking a shot. No one is breaking lines. I don't mind Bruno doing that. And that's something that when I speak to United fans, it annoys me, is because he's the only guy that's going to create in your team, and you're trying to get onto the only player that wants to create in this team. And it's bad sometimes, and it's a bit. And even if we're going to, for example, take the goal that Scott McTominay scores, everyone is saying, oh, what is he doing? The pass that he wants to make, I see it, but it just doesn't come off. But that happens, that's football. And that's just something that annoys me.
Though, it depends on the volume. This is the problem. It's all about volume. If you're doing it 6, 7, 8 times out of 10, that's where, when you have a pass completion, or I think it was 65%, or was it? I can't remember what it was. But if you have a pass
completion, that's the thing for me.
Because you're a midfielder, though. You're a midfielder.
But that's perfect. But the same midfielder in Kevin De Bruyne says, I don't even look at pass completion because I want you as a creative midfielder to let things come off. No, you have a question going.
Yeah. The only thing that, honestly, genuinely, for me, I think a lot of the things what you said is right. But the idea Manchester United have spent all this $1.5 billion in a decade, and we've only got Bruno that can create, is absolutely abysmal to me. It's something it's something that I can't It's something that if you want to know what's going on at a football club where we rely on, no, I'm sorry, Brian. People have to give it another chance. When you're not doing it in football, in football, the level that you play, the level Aaron played, I played the lower level. If you weren't doing it in so many games, you had no right to be. I don't care if you're captain. You come off. And then other players get an opportunity. And then that's how you start competition. You create competition, especially not when things are going amazing. It's when things are going really bad. You give other players an opportunity to do it. And I'm sorry, I agree. Two of the players who give the most ball away, if you look at statistically, was Messi and Kevin De Bruyne. At a certain time when Messi was still at Barcelona as well. They were the two. But I'm sorry to say, Bruno is not anywhere near their levels. He is absolutely nothing. And the other player that used to do it, I agree with you, Brian, was Alexis Sanchez at Arsenal, right? But you see, actually, Alexis Sanchez, Arsenal fans didn't mind because you can actually see what he's trying, right? What Alexis Sanchez, you can clearly see the type of player Kevin De Bruyne is. You can see the type of player Messi is. So the volume of opening, especially when you're up against where everybody sat behind the ball. I mean, that's what it used to be. So that Arsenal team, they used to face a lot of teams used to defend. City, majority of the teams used to play people that sit back. So we understand in football, football fans are not unintelligent. We're intelligent enough to understand that. Of course, when teams set 2 backs of 4, plus the striker or one of the number 10, and they all sit behind the ball, so it's very difficult to find gaps. And this is the type of thing in a game like that. You give your attacking players or your creators more of a leeway to go, okay, I understand. So they're going to try something risky to make sure it comes off. But I'm sorry, Brian. This Bruno, and even last season in some games, Bruno is giving the ball away as a number. To me, okay, Brian, if he was just up the pitch, giving the ball away in the last third, honestly, I'm not going to, when he's trying stuff, I'm not. I just think when you're on balance and you try to shoot when your left foot outside of the boot 35 yards, it's ridiculous, right? But when he gives the ball away, just inside our own half, when he gives the ball away, that 30 yards from our goal, when he gives the ball away in the second set, sorry, I'm not having that. That means you're not trying. You're just, you can't rotate. You lose your head because he's a very emotional player. And then in games where he's not doing great, he thinks, shit, I need to be seen to be doing something. So what does he do? He runs back next to the goal. And it's like, oh, yeah, give me the ball. And I'll try this. No, I don't need you here. On the football pitch, players, I would tell the strikers on the number 10s, get up the pitch. We need you up there.
Stay up.
I don't need you to come back here.
But this is where the midfield looks. But the problem is, the problem is, the midfield in the first half, Amrabat was having to do a lot. I've seen a lot of people saying Amrabat looks very average, but when you have to do a lot, it's like yesterday with Declan Rice in that midfield. It looks like he's doing a lot. When reality, Odegaard's there, but he was missing, and Jorginho was there, and then it looks like Rice is having to do a lot. So in the first half, Rice didn't look well, and the second half, Rice was the best player. Same thing now. Amrabat was our best player in the second half. because then we got a bit more solid in the middle part. We actually started to play some good football. Last super chat before we move on to quickly on the United game. So why do we look better without Bruno Rashford? You're making excuses for these poor players. Individual stats are not
people need to tell me
to
when
team
when
success.
we will look better against Crystal Palace because they play their B team. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think the bigger picture is that we need to find a way of playing with certain players, and that comes down to Ten Hag.
But that's up to coach. Yeah, that's up to coaching for me. Because I've seen Bruno do it in multiple occasions for United and Portugal. I've seen him. So I can't believe that this is the version that he is. I can't believe it because I've seen it. I've been watching him longer than anyone else. I've seen it. So for me, it's an agenda thing, isn't it? It's an agenda thing because everyone wants to push. Oh yeah, he's not that player. Play someone else.
No, that's fair.
For me, that's fine. I agree he should be dropped, and I believe Mason Mount should be having a chance in number 10 position. But at the same time, when he plays, I think certain times it looks mad. I can't lie. It looks crazy. But certain times I understand because I've played football myself. I still play football myself. Yeah. So I understand sometimes that you had a vision and you can't see it. And that's where, as a footballer, you need to know, okay, this pass might not work out. Let me try something else. And that's why I agree he needs to evolve a little bit more. But to say that he's useless, I don't agree. But should he be dropped? Yeah, I can say that he should be dropped. But that's what people they don't want to understand.
That's fair. That's fair. Nearly 750 of you in the building. Make sure you're getting the likes up. We're currently on 200 odd likes. Let's get up to 350 at least, people. So if you're watching right now, smash the thumbs up button. Nuruddin, we'll go to you and then we'll go around next. How do you see tomorrow going, man? Because it's a must-win game. Old Trafford will be very, very emotional crowd as well. It won't be obviously we've got the Bobby Charlton situation in terms of, celebrating his life and whatnot. So that will be emotional for the fans anyway. But do you think we got that game ready, like a big Old Trafford night? Have we got that in us tomorrow? Like, what do you see? How do you see it tomorrow going?
3-0 win.
Well, for me, it's simple, isn't it? It's simple. Like, what a way to tribute to a guy who literally nearly lost his life playing in a competition that we're playing in tomorrow, where he lost majority of his teammates. So what an amazing opportunity for these players, for the Old Trafford crowd, for everybody that's connected to Manchester United to showcase and say, this is the tribute that we can pay to an icon, not a legend. He's an icon. He's an icon of Manchester United, icon of global football. You look at what he's won. Look at the goals, like the records that he stood. Giggs took his appearance record. Rooney took his goals record. Other players took his England goal record, and that was a midfield player, by the way. One of the most naturally gifted footballers this England ever produced in the history of English football, right? So he's not just a player. He's just okay, because none of us seen him play, but he was one of the greats, and that's why people are talking about him everywhere. So it's an opportunity. To me, it can not be lost tomorrow. We're playing in a Champions League, a competition where he basically kind of like nearly gave his life, and his fellow teammates, unfortunately, lost their lives. So tomorrow, we've got to do the biggest send-off to him and celebrate him as a player. And to me, you don't need any motivation as a player. I think this should be it's going to be emotional in terms of the fan base, but I think the manager and the players can't get into the emotions. They have to be very calculated. They have to come with a game plan, and we have to go and win this game. One thing that I would take a bit of a positive, recently Manchester United players, we've done Christmas two months early for my liking. We were taking in turns what time to be Santa, and we were gifting all opposition teams, just giving them gifts from the goalkeeper. 1 minute it's a centre half, midfielder. We were just taking in turns, and I did see a little bit that stopped. And I saw somebody like Onana making actually decent saves, not doing anything spectacular, but just doing his job, keeping the ball out of the net. So it is what it is. And then I just think Manchester United have to win by any means necessary tomorrow. And it's the only way to give a send-off to a legend. So not to an icon like Bobby Charlton.
Yeah. Alice, is this the last chance saloon, isn't it? Copehagen are not a bad team, They took buy-in to the last minute. You know what I mean? I wish I could speak to a Copehagen fan. I remember speaking to one in Alicante. Actually, I was walking down. I went to Barbara Castle I don't know if you've been anyone there, but it's a massive castle you got to go to. As a Copenhagen fan came up to me, it's like, listen, don't underestimate us, man. We're a good team. You know, he goes to me, we're a very well-oiled team. We're very, very structured. We have a clear plan and we're strong. You know what I mean? I hope we don't underestimate them tomorrow, man, because like I said, man, we shouldn't be anyone to think that we're above anyone at the minute because we're struggling against Sheffield United. So, I mean, how do you see it tomorrow? Big game tomorrow, isn't it?
I'm not confident. Like, we should win. I think we have the team and the ability to win, but it's these players. You don't know if they're going to show up or not. And when the going gets tough at Man United, it's kick and strop and sulk, not let's turn it around. You know, Newcastle lost 3 games in a row. They've won and won 5 in a row. Man United lose 3 games in a row. The season's over. Players' heads have dropped. Dressing rooms gone. And this is the thing. We've won 2 games in a row. Not the most convincing the wins, but it's 2 wins in a row. Maybe that will give us some mentality boost. But I think these players are very weak. And, you know, last season, our away record was shocking. Our home record was good. This season, our home record is shocking. And I think a big part of that is because the fans are annoyed at the players. Do you know what I mean? And I think the players, I don't know why, but if they can't hear the fans super loud, they drop. Is that just me? Maybe that's just me, but I think it's like, if the home fans are getting annoyed at the players then drop. It's like they need the fans crazy badly, and I think that's one thing as much as bad as they've been, and actually I think a lot of time they don't deserve the support they get. I think a big part of it could just come on the home ground, because I think the confidence and the lack of belief and mentality in these players is just right at the floor. But I think it's more than that. I think it's just we should win, but we've got mistakes in us. You know, we scored 3 goals versus Bayern, 2 goals versus Galatasaray. You know, what did we get 3? I think we got 2. That's 5 goals in 2 games, and we lost them both because of lapses of concentration. In the Champions League, it's been lapses of concentration. So I think, you know, for me, if they can concentrate, they can win the game. But Copenhagen, you know, clever team, smart team, hard-working team, probably be more confident than United because they don't have that pressure. Probably work harder than United. It can go anyway, but I think we have that extra quality to get the win, but I can't trust these players.
Aaron, what do you think, bro? Tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, to the big one. How do you see it going tomorrow?
It can go either way tomorrow, man. We can either try and turn it around, or it can get ugly and, you know, we finish bottom of the group in the Champions League. Not even dream. The Champions League journey is over before it really starts. And I think alarm bells should be ringing in these players' heads. They should know that if we lose tomorrow, this could be up there with the biggest embarrassments. Forget the 6-1 against City all them years back. Forget the 6-3 last season. Forget the 7-0. Crashing out of the Champions League, having lost your 3 starting games in the Champions League campaign is, as Manchester United, is one of the most embarrassing things that I could carry with me my whole life. So these players, exactly, do it for Sir Bobby. If you ain't got no other reason, do it for him.
Yep.
That's your reason right there. Because I'm sure his family is going to be there. All his friends are going to be there. Everybody at the club involved is going to be there. There's going to be a huge ceremony, I'm assuming, before the game. If you lose this game, listen, I'm not the one advocating for any sort of heavy criticism, but get ready to receive some. If you lose tomorrow, like, it's going to be, when it rains, it pours. That's what they say, innit? So if they lose tomorrow, this can get ugly.
Yeah. But obviously, Brian's going to end it on some positive. You know what I mean? He's going to say we're going to win it and we're going to smash Copenhagen. That's what we want to end it on. That's why I came to you last, Ryan, for a reason. You know, let us know what's happening tomorrow.
Nah, can I have the floor, please? Listen, there always has to be someone that's very positive, and I know all of you somewhere believe that we're gonna win. I believe that we're gonna win. We've won 2 games on the bounce. I'm feeling good about Man United. I feel like, and I've said it at the start of the show, but I feel like this is the game that we might actually not really turn a corner, but show a little bit of a glimpse. But the thing is with me, the love for the club is always too big. It's always too big. So I
Yeah.
always believe that we're gonna beat every team. And that's something that was shaped when I was younger. I remember we had the shirt with the believe inside of the badge. That just always told me like believe in this team in it. So I think we're gonna win against Copenhagen. I think we're gonna win by 2 goals. I think it's gonna be 3-1. Maybe hopefully a 2-0 because I actually want to see a clean sheet. But I think it's gonna be 3-1 because we like to concede. But I think we're gonna win the game. I believe in Man United. I don't want to be another theme song in Nuruddin's soundtrack, but I know that we're gonna win. I believe we're gonna win. We're gonna do it for Bobby, but we're gonna do it as well for the fans because we've been suffering this season. And I think as a Man United player, it's impossible to start your campaign with 0 points out of 9. So I'm gonna say we're gonna win 3-1. We're gonna smoke them. We're gonna get those 3 points, and then we're gonna qualify second place. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. And that's the best way to end the show, people. It's been a good one. Thanks for everyone for watching. Make sure you like the video, people. That's a key thing. Still over 700 of you in here. The likes are what the life and soul of the channel. It helps us boost up the algorithm. Right now, the algorithm's a bit messy, so please hit the like button. Alice has been our special guest. Alice, it's been a good one. Let them know where they can find you. And yeah, big up to you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Big up Saeed for letting me come on the channel. Always great to be here, guys. Make sure you do subscribe to Saeed and hit that like button if you have not already. Really important to do that. I'm Alice Talks Football on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. You find me on there. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Honestly, Alice, well done. Like, check her out on Twitter as well. Good threads, good information on there. So good informative content on her channel. Aaron, The Zone. When's the next The Zone commentary, man? We want to see Guardia and you know what I mean. The names are just still out. What do you think? When are you next doing anything?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to speak to them. I think this week, and let's see how many more games we can do. And yeah, man, the season's still long, so I'm looking forward to maybe doing more commentary on women's football. So yeah, man, proper enjoying it.
Jeez, my guy.
Nah, man, big up, man. It's a big one. It's a big one for Aaron, man. You get me representing the people, man. So big up to Aaron as well, always. Brian, big up to you for coming on, man. Love for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a long time. Sorry for not being here. I'm actually sad that I missed your 300 episodes anniversary. Was it or 250?
250, yeah.
Yeah, I was a bit sad to miss that. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity always. And I would say people check out my channel, but it's in Dutch, so there's no point. There's no point. But yeah, love to all of you. Love to Alice. Love to Nuruddin. Love to Saeed, and obviously Aaron. I don't like you.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
Absolutely. Last super chat. Incognito says we have the wrong midfielders. We have no midfielders to go past people and break lines. That'll be hopefully this summer or maybe January to sort that out. Head over now if you want to tune in to United Real Therapy as well. We're going to go live as well, give a tribute to Bobby Charlton and also preview the Copenhagen game in more detail. So come and join us over there. And yeah, man, peace and love, people, man. This is it, people. Straightjacket podcast 252. Manchester United tomorrow. Do not let us down. If we do, oh my God, I might just end the channel. Bye-bye. Saeed TV is over.